Hello, guys. We are back, and what a disaster that is. There's no two ways about it. That's just a disastrous result. Absolutely disastrous result for a lot of different reasons. Number one, we just came from dropping points against Fulham and then drawing another one right after that. In this title race, you cannot drop points 2 games in a row. You can't, and we already know about that from the last 2 seasons. You're supposed to win 5, then maybe lose 1. Win another 5, then maybe draw 1. But the moment you go drawing 2 and losing, you cannot do that. And we have a habit of doing that all the time. Like we can win 10 games in a row, and then if we draw 1 or lose 1, we end up losing 2 or 3 or drawing 2 or 3. That has always happened. I don't know why, but that has always happened. Whoever the next opponent is, we will draw. Even if we drew with Fulham today, and next week we are playing against Reading at home, we'd probably draw that game as well. That is just how we do it. That is number one. Number two, the fact that Liverpool have dropped points again in back-to-back games and we haven't taken advantage of that, that is disastrous. This was our time to take advantage. Like, Liverpool have drawn with Newcastle. They've had their game against Everton postponed. They've now drawn with Fulham. You don't get that every single time. You do not get those kind of results every single time. And next up, Liverpool is playing against Tottenham. Let's say they go there and they draw another one. We literally had the chance of, closing that gap to like 1 point most. By next week. That was our opportunity. We haven't. Another reason why it's a disaster, Man City have won like literally 1 game the last 1 year. And if they beat Man United tomorrow, we're on level on points with them. That is a disaster as well. We were supposed to be at least 7-8 points ahead of them, and we'll be level on points with them. And they've had their worst time over the last 10 years. This has been their worst period over the last 10 years, and we haven't taken advantage of that. Chelsea could be 4 points ahead of us tomorrow. Liverpool are still 6 points ahead of us. It could have been more disastrous, but there's no positive way of looking at that. Even if Liverpool drew, we should have taken advantage. We cannot look at that in any positive way at all. We needed to win that game today. We just simply needed to win that game today. Now, you can argue Liverpool are now having their bad spell. You can argue Man City have had their bad spell. But us as well, we already had our bad spell, drawing against Bournemouth, losing against Bournemouth, losing against Newcastle, drawing against Chelsea. Those games there, those like a 1 win out of like 5 games, and also losing to Inter Milan in the Champions League and all that. That was our bad patch. I don't think you can afford to have 2-3 bad patches in this title race. You can't. You can only have one. You cannot have another one. Like, Man City did last season when they went like 4 games without winning, or the way we did in December last season, having a bad spell. You cannot have third bad spell. And it's looking like we're already having our second bad spell. And what having a second bad spell means is now from January to May, we have to win 20 games out of 20 to win the league, which is not possible to do that. So it is a disaster. Again, drawing with Everton, a team that we always beat, a team that has just lost 4-0 to Man United, a team that, have no quality going forward at all, and they expect us to beat them. Like, listening to their fans, they all expected us to beat them. It's just a disaster, man. It's an absolute disaster. And listen, I said at the beginning of the season, back to my prediction, I said to win this league, we need to, draw 4, lose 4, and win 30 of the games. That means we had a margin of dropping 20 points. Now, so far, we have dropped, how many games have we lost? We've lost 2 and we've drawn 5, correct? 5 or 6, I don't even know. I think now, from my prediction, we can only drop like maybe 2 more points between now and the end of the season, which is, if we even did that, that would be miraculous. That means winning every single game between now and the end of the season and drawing 1 and not losing any. That would be a miracle. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about in that game, especially players, individual players. You have a lot to talk about. I've not done a show for the last, I've not done a video the last 2 weeks. I have been engaging with you guys and everything, but the time we played against, I don't know what has happened, by the way, like beating West Ham all those goals, scoring all those goals against Sporting, against Nottingham, and then all of a sudden, you've hit the brakes again. I did say the time we played against, after we lost to Newcastle, I said, listen, now, if our defenders make mistakes, if Gabriel is missing games, or if Saliba gets a red card, or if Timber is missing games, if Calafia is missing games, if Ben White is out for 3 months, whatever, it is fine. Our defense has helped us a lot. That's why when even Gabriel makes a mistake, I'm like, he's kept 10 clean sheets in the last 11. What can we say? It's absolutely fine. He can make mistakes, That's why I never really scream or shout, especially when Raya or Saliba make mistakes, because they've been carrying us over the last 2 seasons in terms of clean sheet. Even today, another clean sheet once again. I said 1 month ago, now it's time to depend on our forward players to do the job. Yes, we're going to concede a couple of goals like we have the last 2 months. We've conceded to Chelsea, we've conceded to Bournemouth, we've conceded to Newcastle, conceded to Sporting, to West, all those things that we've conceded twice against West Ham. We are going to concede goals, but that means we have to score 3 or 4. They did that against Sporting, West Ham, and Nottingham, but all of a sudden against Fulham, nothing. The first half against Monaco, terrible. Today, first half especially, absolutely terrible. And we cannot do that. Our forward players have to turn up, and we have a massive problem up front. Like the moment Odegaard doesn't perform like today, we are in big trouble. And that is a huge concern. Last season, if Martinelli or Jesus played well, we would have won the league. Just one of them, not even both of them, just one of them. We just needed one of them to play well. 4 extra goals from Jesus, so 5 extra goals from Martinelli, maybe a couple of assists, would have won the title last season. We had a season where Martinelli and Jesus all did not perform, so all those goals that Havertz, Trossard, Saka all scored didn't help eventually because we didn't get the returns from the likes of Martinelli and Jesus. Now, this season, at the beginning as well, I said we cannot have another season where all of those players don't perform. We need at least one of them to perform to help us through this season. Unfortunately, both of them are not performing, and on top of that, a couple of other players have hit the brakes as well. Now, we have a massive problem on that left side. Big problem. A lot of people want us to get a striker. I want us to get a striker as well. But if you're to be asked right now, if you can only get one signing in January, striker or left winger, what would we say? I'm very concerned about the left wing as well. I didn't think we were going to have a big problem on the left side because Trossard has been scoring goals. I thought Martinelli would come back this season and start scoring goals, but we have a big problem. And my Martinelli once again against Monaco, terrible. He was annoying me with the constant fouls, almost picked up a red card. Today as well, decision making, gets into the box. Like I think in the first 10 minutes or something, the time he should have hit the cross. He was taking too much time. Disaster. He goes off. Trossard comes on. Stink of a performance when Trossard came on. Like that, when did he come on? 7th minute. Those 20 minutes that Trossard was on, I think that could be the worst 20 minutes he's ever had at Arsenal. The way the ball kept going out, so you think he was caught offside in a funny way. The passes kept on giving the pass away. Terrible. And if both players playing on the left wing are not playing well, that is a massive problem. That is a major problem because, yes, Martinelli was not playing well last season and we still survived in terms of staying in the title race, but Trossard was playing well. Now, having both of them not playing well, that is a big problem. And looks like we don't really trust Sterling because that is the next option. So since we've not seen Sterling playing a lot, and I'm not saying he's going to change everything in the team, I think as of now, I think it will just tell Sterling, start the next 2 games against Crystal Palace. Let's see how we do next week. We just have to do that because Trossard is not delivering. We usually say, okay, bring him off the bench. Let's see. Nothing. That is a problem. And on top of that, Martinelli, we're in December now. Martinelli has still not yet delivered, apart maybe from 1 game or 2 games out of the 15, 20 games he's been on. That is a problem. Now, on top of that, Havertz started the season very well. The last 1 month, he has gone quiet, and that is a problem. Now, he does chip in his goals here and there, but in terms of impact on the game, we are not seeing anything, and that is a problem. So we are having to depend. Jesus as well came on, poor crosses and all that. We know we can depend on him. So we are literally depending on Saka and Odegaard, just the 2 of them. Last time we had a few goals from Rice as well. We're not getting that right now. The only other option that would have helped us right now is if Merino's chipping in with the goals right now from midfield, and that is not happening as well. And we're not getting the goals from Rice as well. And on top of that, our defenders getting injured here and there, so we are conceding goals. So that is a massive problem. We have a big problem, and I did say we have to try and survive up until January. We're not taking advantage of Man City and Liverpool dropping points. We are still 6 points behind Liverpool. They have a game in hand, so that could be 9, but we'll have to be perfect from January to the end of the season. We cannot, in terms of transfers, we cannot wait until January 31st to buy a player. We have to. And in the cup competitions now, that becomes very important. We have to beat Crystal Palace in midweek. We have to go through the Champions League in the top 8, and we have to beat United in the FA Cup because we can't have another season where we are 10 points behind Liverpool and you've gone out of the FA Cup and maybe gone out of the Carabao Cup. We can't do that again. We cannot do that again. So a lot of players need... I don't know what you're going to do with that left side at all. And even the striker position, you cannot remove Havertz because if you remove Havertz, you bring in Jesus. So what do we say? If Trossard was playing well, I would have told you, okay, listen, let's try Trossard up front for a couple of games like we did last season. And then let's have, let's keep Sterling on the left side or something, or Martinelli, whatever. But you don't have that option as well. You basically are playing with a one forward at the moment, Saka. And today, clear cut as well. The chances that came from today's game, Saka and Odegaard. Odegaard won a couple of good saves from Pickford. Second half one, Saka shot. It was saved, good save as well. But apart from that, nothing at all. And the whole second half, basically, the only thing I wrote down is the Saka shot and the Merino header that was saved right after that immediately. The rest of the second half, we did not look like we were going to score. And that is an Everton team that conceded a bunch of goals. They just conceded 4-2 to United, and they're playing against Chelsea next week. Don't be shocked if they concede 3 or 4. So that is just a terrible result. We dominated possession in the first half, had 7 shots, but 2 on target, and it's not good. Listen, drawing to Everton at home, that is a terrible result. If it's Brighton at home, Aston Villa at home, I can be like, that is fine. But Everton at home, there's teams like Everton at home, even away, Nottingham at home, Southampton at home, Leicester, you have to win all those games. Then you can afford to lose a couple, maybe not to a Liverpool or Man City or Brighton, lose a couple, and then maybe draw a couple to a Chelsea away or someone. But now dropping points to Bournemouth, dropping points to Everton, dropping points to Fulham again, just like we did last season, it's not looking good. It is not looking good at the moment. I'm worried about that striking position. I still don't think Arsenal just score from set pieces. I think there's other ways that we score goals, as we've seen, but it usually has to come from Saka or Odegaard, one of those players, and that is a major issue. Major issue. Nwaneri came on. Nothing bad to say about Nwaneri and Lewis Kelly. Once again, Lewis Kelly played well. I don't know. I was watching some clips from the 2023 season, the way Zinchenko was coming into midfield and doing the job. I don't know what the solution is between now and January, because how many games do we have to play? We still have to play Crystal Palace twice. We still have to play Ipswich. We still have to play Brentford or Brighton, none of them at the end of the year. We need to win all of those games. Now, I don't know if you're going to do that, because, up front, you're really missing something. And I was surprised Odegaard went off. I wouldn't have taken him off, even if you're playing how badly. That doesn't matter. If you need a goal, I usually would not take Odegaard off. I saw some people saying, yeah, this is good, bring on Nwaneri. Yeah, probably I would have brought in Nwaneri for Merino, but I would never take out Odegaard if you're trying to win the game. So that is a disaster. That is a disastrous result. We didn't take advantage of Liverpool drawing twice. Man City could be on the same points with us tomorrow. And all of a sudden, once again, we're basically back to square one. Basically beating West Ham, all those goals in Nottingham didn't help us. Basically, we're just in the same position that we are against Liverpool. And now Chelsea will open up the gap against us tomorrow. And yeah, I don't know. Starting lineup, I was okay with the starting lineup. I was like, this should be able to do the job. Because now we can't say Trossard should have started ahead of Martinelli. Martinelli should have started ahead of Trossard. It doesn't matter. Trossard started last week. Martinelli started in the last 2 games. Still no impact. And that is a massive problem. Once again, defenders, Raya, absolutely fine. Gabriel, absolutely fine once again. Saliba, nothing to complain about. Timber, maybe in the final third, lost the ball a couple of times. Lewis Kelly, nothing to complain about. But not starting. Then again, we can't start every player every single game. I don't have a problem with Partey being rested today and starting with Rice and Merino. The next time, maybe Merino starts on the bench, Partey's the one that's starting. The problem is that forward line. We have a big problem. And now looking at our bench, we don't have anyone to bring there. We can only bring on Sterling or Jesus, and Jesus is not having an impact. Neither is Trossard. We've not tried Sterling. You might as well just do it now and just see how it goes. It's not going to change everything, but you might as well just try him there, because the other ones is not working. Unless we change the formation, unless we put Gabriel on top, I don't know what you're going to do, but it's not working. It is not working. Maybe try Sterling as a false 9. I don't know. Just try something, because it's not working with Trossard and Martinelli. They're not making the impact that we need. So terrible result. I don't know where we go from here. 2 draws in a row, we cannot do that. We've already had a bad patch, and now we're having a second one. We cannot do that. Liverpool, Chelsea tomorrow will win, and they'll be happy. We've dropped points. Liverpool are now thinking, oh, you know what? Arsenal have not taken advantage the last 2 times. We've drawn against Newcastle and Fulham. Back to depending on Tottenham again next week. We cannot depend on other teams if you're not doing our own job. If we were doing our job, if you're beaten Fulham and won today, it would have been 2 points behind Liverpool. Yes, they still have a game in hand, but it would have been maybe 5 after the game in hand. That is manageable. But now still 6 points, 9 if they win the game in hand. It's still, if you lose one, they win one, it's over, 12 points ahead. We don't want to be in that situation. We already had the chance to close that gap, and we haven't, and it's absolutely terrible. Man of the match for me, do we have a man of the match? I don't know, maybe one of the defenders, maybe. Apart from that, man, nothing else. Let me know what you guys made of the game. I'll do the player ratings, but I don't think it's worth it for this particular game. All the forward players disappointing. Saka tried. Odegaard was not great. Lewis Kelly did the job. Defenders did the job. Raya didn't have anything to do today. Rice was subbed off. Merino, they didn't do much. So forward line, we have a big problem. I don't know what you're going to do with that. But guys, thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you on the next one.